Wat is wheele vie vie, sweele vie vie, chofi, chosweele vie vie. The heartbeat of the nation, where we have our finger on the pulse. Welcome, welcome. I welcome you all. I'm your host, Upolnuku Kapatia, General, the two-striped man with the medal on top. Ngete Vorna, Vorna. Yes, I'd like to welcome the new subscribers. I'd like to welcome the old Mataras since from day one, Bafethu Slogo Si Pusha, Siyancenga Riding and like. Today we are delving deep into the world of African music. You know, our culture, you know, our heritage, you know, otherwise hip hop has been one of the oldest genre of music around, and Amapiano also is the oldest genre of music has been around. So which one is on the edge at this particular point in time, because they are both, you know, shaping our culture and shaping our future. You know, let's get into it. You know, hip hop, you know, is a genre that, you know, has been around for decades, exploring in recent years. And artists like Abu Nasty C, Abu MT, Abu Java, Abu Zulu, Abu 25K, all these guys who have managed to tell stories of where they come from lyrically, and have a flow, and tell stories that are true, and reflect the society that they live in. And now internationally they are recognized, and internationally they are, you know, they are upheld. Because I still remember when, you know, we did the real African hip hop, which was Kwai hip hop, which comes from Abu Proverb, Abu Double HP. May their soul rest in peace. Not Proverb. Proverb is still alive. I'm speaking about Pitch Black Afro, and I think also to put in DJ Clio at some point. And now, obvious, Kalawi Jazz Me, obvious, Oskidonki, Oskido, and all the guys who managed to put storytelling and lyrically within the music itself. And also, it's a thin line between those lyrical based story driven songs, and those who are communal communication, bringing people together, dance like music. So the culture of movement being pushed in a particular way in terms of music, because we know also popular culture is being influenced. And you would understand what DJ Maporisa, DJ Small, how they also influence our particular genre of music when it comes to Amapiano, deep house, and all the dance kind of like music in the industry of arts. And they've blown up the whole world, the whole scene with Amapiano and our house music. And obviously the remix, you know, through Amapiano, they're quite strong, and our melodies within it, they are quite strong. They are soulful. It has a soulful vibe, and it puts us, you know, on the edge. It puts us on the move as a cultural people, and you know, we are movers. And hip hop, it's an expression. It's somebody who's voicing out a particular concern, and when they are tell their story, they are reaching a vast particular audience. And you would know that at this particular point, hip hop is a kind of like an international open market, and Amapiano, it's like your local based market. And what makes it different, Velevel, is that the hip hop is like more lyrically and narrative driven, and often reflect the societal issues and personal stories. And Amapiano, on the other hand, it's about the vibe, the mood, the music that make people dance, relax, and connect. And at the same time, both genres are incredibly influential and sharp in South Africa. You can tell, and it shapes the landscape of our people and the way they think and the way they look at the future. So as artists, when we jot down a song or when we create music, we know we are creating music that blends and music that influences one another in terms of understanding when we create, we are living in golden ages in South Africa. We all know with music genres are confined in beautiful melodies and the representation of our people across the world. It's such interesting, and the influence that we have, and the hip hop at this special times, in understanding where we are at, in influencing and shaping the narrative of a people, as well as knowing, Amapiano is also part of our narrative, is part of our story, and it's part of, really understanding which, okay, I'm comparing apples and oranges at this particular time. Both they are amazing, and both they are essential to the culture, and both it depends on how you feel at some point, at some particular point in time, and what your artist you follow, and the artist you would understand that, okay, me, I'm following this artist, me, this is the type of music I want to hear. And once you've reached a point of understanding the music that puts you in a place of ease, in a place of peace, it's quite interesting when you also delve deep into understanding what it does to you as a human being, when you really understand the impact, and you look at the societal impact of what it creates, and your perspective of life, when you listen to music, and when we understand supporting particular music and supporting particular genres. And obviously we want our music to be out there in the world, and people, dance to our music and support our artists, and making sure our artists get recognized, not just artists who be just finding themselves in spaces where they don't win international awards, and they don't find themselves in spaces where they are competing in the highest level. We want them to compete in the highest level, and how they compete to the highest level is through our support, and through understanding, how we support them, and how it's the how we support them. And there are also young kids on the block in which they are coming from Val, and they are also making the scene, very interesting at this particular point in time, because there's also new voices and new stories that are coming out from different castles, and even in Durban, even in Cape Town, Ziggy X4. You've got, people who are still coming out, who are still making this beautiful genre, both of them, music, in terms of hip hop and kwaito. According to you, Velevel, when you sit in a space and you go, okay, between these two music, which, because they are also played differently, and they also find themselves in different spaces, and different people who understand, and the times, because I think also Amapiano, they also grow with times. Even the music are influencing the current popular culture, and as hence also with hip hop, it's a story that stays, it's a story that remains, and the story that changes, or the story that influences changes, and we understand, like we have mentioned, to say both genres are quite interesting, because hip hop with lyrical driven, and then your Amapiano being communal driven, connection, celebration. And you would understand at this particular point in time that you can't play a hip hop joint in a hot club where it's about to get, a jiggy and jaggy, and you are putting on a hip hop song. Especially also DJs can tell you in South Africa, if you have placed a particular set, you have placed a particular set, and you just stick to that set until you get out of that set, because now the next person who needs to play the set, you wouldn't need to play the song of the set. And we all understand in the beginning of even with our events, you can tell the artists they bring to the events, and because when you also understand the symbolic behind, and the story behind the story itself in terms of me as an event organizer. Yes, I would want to make money, but I would want to bring somebody in which I would understand. Possibly he'll tell the stories that my people will want to hear because it's my club, or they will play songs of the people they want to dance to, and all of these things, they are calculative, they are calculated, they are not just made and we think no they was they just made these things. No, these things are not made, they are calculative. They are even artists when they go into studio, they are also calculative. Sometimes they know they get a hit, sometimes they know they don't have a hit. They know when they have a hit, they know when they don't have a hit. Sometimes they wake up with a hit, sometimes it's life itself. As long as we will support Tina, our artists, and make sure that we don't find ourselves in spaces where we are beaten internationally because we are not influencing the algorithms of supporting our own artists and making sure both genres are represented in its highest level. Because if the Amapiano, we are crying over the type of lyrics they are using, and we would like them to be more consciously, advising our young ones in terms of going to school, in terms of making sure they look at their surroundings and their lives. They do not just, and there is songs like that. There are songs that represent the type of struggles that our people come from, and I go, yeah, we must push that. We must push better song, better living, better understanding of our own being, in that conscious sense, because hip hop, hip hop is on another level on its own, and like in terms of telling us who they are, telling us their struggles, telling us their stories, and voicing out their youth and expressing their realities and going, hey, 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 remasepeng bana semzini, saka re selo mare ka reka bophelo. So all of those kind of understanding of where this music and where we come from with this music, it is very also important. And yes, it evolves because times and us people who are finding ourselves in spaces where we are evolving with this time, we must accept, and grow with it. Because once we don't grow with it, once we don't accept it, and try to analyze it there and make sure that we are in really intact with our artist, and we follow them, and there's nothing you can do in terms of shortchanging us with the quality of art and the authenticity of this beautiful art and craft that we have as a people, and the representation of our culture through this music and through these artists, and would like to give props to people who are also doing quality music, and give props to hip hop heads who are in studios writing music and making sure they are putting their music out there, and we dance into it, and we must follow, we must like, we must share, we must invite them in our spaces, and enjoy the education they are telling us. And like, because also you must remember, artists are also people that come and give us a message at some particular time in our era, because each and every generation has its own voice. I want to hear from you. What's your favorite song? What's your favorite Amapiano? What's your favorite hip hop joint? Drop your thoughts and like drop your comments. Hit me up on social media, and don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. And let us also engage, because we are about to understand, the culture. We are keeping our finger on the pulse, and the more we understand the culture is the more we understand ourselves. And we must also find the time to sit and enjoy what we have, and congratulate our artists. And I know there are awards that are coming to say, hey, Mang the most. We are saying now and giving props and giving flowers to those who are making music, to those who are in studio, to those who are doing their thing and making sure that we are keeping entertained. And thank you very much. And the pulse of the nation is still following, because you know who we are when we do our thing and we follow musicians, or when we follow someone we like and we go, hey, sikbhekile and like we are on your toes, so don't drop the ball. And other artists, I know they've went on to also include their theater works in terms of coming into theater and making videos, or making live concert and having their band and whatnot, and doing their thing there. We really appreciate that, and for the institutions to open up spaces for such artists, because it's not all institutions who understand the artist vision, or the artist understanding of what they want to do. And we understand at some point we find ourselves in spaces where the admin and the logistics, and formalities that are sitting on the table, and making sure that we do everything diligently, and we do everything formally, and we do everything that is set on the paper. But I would like to encourage us to please follow our hip hop heads, follow our Amapiano guys, follow artists. In fact, don't mind who the art is done by who, as long as you love the art and you go, I dig that art and I want to understand that art, follow it, and make means you support it, because there's nothing more than less than artists who are doing work and not supported. We need artists to be supported. We need artists to be encouraged. We need artists to be told they are doing good work, if they are doing good work. And if they are not doing good work, they must be also challenged in terms of not doing good work. But where we sit now with the culture of music, Dumi and the Volume, Dumi has just released, Horseman, and that's a hit, my guy. That joint is a hit, and some of our also, Low Kid, the Dope Boy, has also released, and many artists also has released. And I also know that Back in the City is still cooking something in the background. We're still coming, and Aboslika Nabo also, they are cooking somewhere somehow, and everybody is cooking, and people must cook so that they cook and dish something proper for the people, because both music and both genre are good, and they must be represented in a strong way, in terms of us now, when we the consumers are consuming the music, because it's not easy, you heard, to buy data kanyiwa, yabona, to download that song manje kushubile enhle, akusafani nakuqala ukuthi angizoyibamba nje nengoma ngidownload, no. It's complex now. We are living in different times now, and times have changed, and we need to accept, and we need to just make sure that we support, and we support such also initiative, to find ourselves in such spaces, and dropping likes and comments and sharing such information to the people, and saying there is a debate, and if there must be a debate, to say, is hip hop better than Amapiano, or is it Amapiano better than hip hop, or hip hop is good music and Amapiano is not good music? As long as you have facts, and then you place them on the table, and let's debate, and let us share ideas and share thoughts, and possibly other artists who are listening, they would know what is relevant, what is not relevant, what people are thinking about, what we find ourselves in spaces sharing, and we must also understand that it's not easy to be in a creative space when you are not what's the word, encouraged to be supported, like, hey, siyabona sisonke and siyapush. But now no, masingakuboni singakuphushi, nawe angithi inhliziyo, nawe uzithola ukuthi manje usespacini esingekho grand, and then it all boils down to hey, these ones didn't trust me with this thing, and this one, they lied to me, and we found it ourselves in studios where we made songs, and those songs now are not being lied. It's just that people like what they like, and people will choose what they choose, and you must not choose for them. And at this particular point in time, we like hip hop and we like Amapiano. And Amapiano, obviously, they are doing something also in Africa, and they are really mesmerizing Africa as we speak. And hip hop, obviously, we understand that we have the best storytellers in our country, and we understand if we have those particular powers in our hand, we must just support them as we keep our finger on the pulse, as we say, see you when we see each other, and remember, subscribe, and remember, share, and remember, we are still coming back with more. We still have a lot to discuss. There is a lot happening in our country, but at this particular moment in time, it's all about the hey, pop, vum, 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 gone kanje, gone kanje, gone kanje, gone kanje. It's gone kanje.